What would you do if you knew a monster was coming for your home? Not a mythical creature, but something far worse, something real. Its name is Hurricane Milton, and it wasn't just a storm. It was a catastrophe. This is the story of those who survived it, those who lost everything, and the lessons we learned when nature unleashed its fury on the Sunshine State. Florida, a place known for its sun-drenched beaches, its tropical beauty, and yes, its hurricanes. But when Hurricane Milton approached, the entire state braced for something different, something far more dangerous than they could have imagined. The first warnings came in as the storm rapidly intensified in the Gulf. What began as a low-pressure system grew into a monster overnight. Meteorologists were stunned as they watched the satellite images. Milton wasn't behaving like the hurricanes they had seen before. Winds reached 130 miles per hour, transforming it into a Category 3 storm. And then it happened. It changed course, directly toward Florida's most densely populated cities. Now, imagine you're in Tampa. You've heard the warnings, but it's late at night. The wind outside your window is howling. You can hear the rain pounding on the roof like a drumbeat. It's 2 a.m. Suddenly, the power goes out. Darkness. You feel the walls of your house shake with each gust. And then, you hear it, a sound like a freight train roaring past your front door. It's not just the wind anymore. This is something else. It's a tornado, one of many that Hurricane Milton brought along for the ride. Roofs were torn off homes in seconds. Cars were tossed around like toys. People were trapped inside their houses, unable to escape. The emergency services couldn't reach everyone in time. In the early hours of the morning, tragedy struck. 10 lives were lost. Families who had just been preparing for a routine storm were suddenly mourning their loved ones. Entire communities were leveled, homes shattered to pieces by Milton's fury. The death toll was a grim reminder that no one is ever truly prepared for a storm of this magnitude. Can you imagine the terror in those final moments? The helplessness of knowing there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. It's a feeling that stays with you. But it wasn't just lives that Milton claimed. The infrastructure of Florida took a hit that will take months, if not years, to recover from. Over 3 million people were left without power, some for days, in the scorching Florida heat. Floodwaters rose so high that major highways became rivers. Families were stranded, trapped on their rooftops, waiting to be rescued. Streets turned into lakes. And with water comes contamination, a silent threat that lingers long after the storm passes. If you were in Florida when Milton hit, you probably remember that feeling of dread, of watching the storm surge rise higher and higher. Did you ever wonder, how much higher will it go? Will my house survive? Will I survive? Imagine watching the roof of Tropicana Field, a symbol of the city, being torn apart. The building that stood strong for decades, now crippled by the force of the winds. This wasn't just another hurricane. This was devastation on a scale we hadn't seen in years. But beyond the destruction, beyond the numbers, there's the human cost. People lost their homes, their businesses, their memories. Imagine coming back to your house only to find that it's no longer there. The place where you raised your children, the place where you celebrated birthdays, holidays, now reduced to rubble. What do you do? How do you begin to rebuild? And it's not just the physical rebuilding. Think about the emotional scars. How many families will never feel safe again? How many children will grow up with the memory of Hurricane Milton etched into their minds? If you're watching this, ask yourself, what would you have done? How would you have protected your family? And what can we do now to make sure we're better prepared for the next storm that will inevitably come? Because, let's be honest, Milton isn't the last of its kind. With the changing climate, storms like this are becoming more frequent, more violent. We have to start asking the hard questions. Are our cities ready? Are we ready? Or will the next Hurricane Milton catch us off guard once again? Leave a comment below. How do you think we should prepare for future storms? Should we rebuild smarter, stronger? Let us know your thoughts, because the time to act is now. Hurricane Milton may have left Florida, but its impact will be felt for years to come. Share this video with your friends and family to spread awareness. If you're in a hurricane-prone area, make sure you have a plan. Because the storm isn't over. It's just beginning. Stay safe, stay informed, and always be prepared.